Hi, this is Dana Lieberman from Bent Up Cycles and Bacchetta, filming from my living room. I'm stuck at home with COVID and can't go into the shop, so here I am. I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk to you about a subject that you all have reached out a lot to us about, and that is, how do I buy a used bike? What should I look for? I'm gonna go through some different thoughts that I have on this using my own bike, my Carbonaro 3.0, but these apply to really any bike or trike that you're gonna buy. Probably the most common question I get is this bike a good deal? Unfortunately, that's not a question that I can answer, especially if I don't have pictures, especially if I don't have specifications. What I really recommend is that you do some research, going onto Recumbent's classifieds on Facebook, Recumbent Bike and Trike classifieds on Facebook. Go over to bentrideronline.com and browse through their for sale section. You can also look at Craigslist, OfferUp, and a variety of different online resources to get a general idea of what the bike that you're interested in buying costs. It may be $600, it may be $6,000, and that ultimately is a decision between you and the seller as to whether or not the asking price is a reasonable price. The second most common question we get at our shop is, will this bike fit me? Now please understand that over the last 20 years of selling recumbents, we've seen manufacturers come and go. We've also seen manufacturers change their sizing specifications over the years. So unless I know exactly what bike you're looking at, I really can't answer that question either. What I would recommend is always get a test ride on a bike, and if you're not sure, don't buy it. The third most common question we get is, can you tell me what year my bike is based on the serial number, color, decals, etc. Unlike the car industry and the traditional bike industry at large, the recumbent industry does not use model years when discussing or giving specifications on their bikes. So you may be able to get information about when a bike was purchased from a manufacturer. For example, HP Velotechnik, you can read the serial number and see right there the month and date that the frame was made. But that doesn't actually give you a model year, as it's really not a relevant piece of data. And now, let's move on to some things to look for when you're buying a used bike. When buying a used bike, the most critical factor that you're going to want to look for is damage. You want to see if there's any indications that this bike has been crashed or damaged in any way. I can tell you my Carbonaro has about 1,200 miles on it, and about a year ago, I did lay it down at about 35 miles an hour. And while I have fixed some of the issues, there are definitely indications still on this bike. For example, scuff marks on the handlebars. You can't see it here because I did replace the brake levers, but you would have seen scratch marks along the brake lever. And actually on the other side, you can see it even more. I've got scuff marks on the handlebars. The other thing that you can look for is scuff marks on the quick release levers. Again, I replaced my quick release levers, so they don't really show anything here, but this is going to be something that definitely hits when you look at a bike that's been crashed. So you can see here, nothing here to show. The third thing that you would want to look at is the pedals. Right here, if they're scuffed up, probably means the bike got laid down at some point. Again, these are new pedals, so these pedals look fine. Another thing you're going to want to look at closely is the drivetrain. For example, are there scuffs on the derailleur? As you can see right here, there definitely is. This was not from a crash, this was just from knocking my bike over. But there are always indications if there's been some kind of damage or accident to the bike. On more of a maintenance level, you're going to want to look and see, what's the condition of the chain? Is it clean? Is it lubricated? Is it fresh? Is it filthy? As you can see, I try and keep my chain in pretty good condition, but I'm not perfect about it. You can also see my cogs, while worn, are clean. The cassette is relatively clean. I do give it a bath every once in a while. And again, that derailleur, while it's scuffed from being knocked over, is in very good condition. Another thing that you're going to want to look at is the condition of the tires. As you can see, these tires are in pretty good shape. If you started seeing cracks along these surfaces, or if the bike was presented to you with deflated tires, you might be concerned that there's some dry rot or wear in the tires. But definitely inspect the tires front and rear. And while you're at it, spin the wheels to make sure that they're true. You'll be able to see movements in the rim if the wheel is out of true. Try not to look at the tire while you're doing it, as there may be subtle imperfections in the tire that may make it look like the wheel is out of true, when in fact it's just the tire. Finally, you're going to want to give the frame a very thorough inspection to make sure that there is no damage. On a carbon fiber frame in particular, you want to make sure that there are no cracks or anything else that might indicate, again, that the bike has been dumped and crashed. As you can see, this frame looks to be in great shape. I can tell you when I crashed it, my hip and shoulder took most of the fall, not the bike itself. As you can see, everything looks great. Specifically, you would also want to look at the bottom bracket shell. You can tell a lot here. If the chain has come derailed a lot, you would see scuff marks right through here. That doesn't necessarily have to be a deal breaker, but you'd want to ask questions about it and know how deep those scuff marks are. It's also really important that you check the cables and cable housings for rust. If it's an open cable design like this, in most cases you can pull that cable off. This one's a little tight. And actually pull this ferrule off and check to see if there's rust on the end of the housing or rust on the cables. If there is, those are all parts that are going to need to be replaced. And if it's on one run, it's probably on all 4 of them. Wish you the best of luck finding the bike of your dreams, whether it's used or new. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at bentupcycles.com. Have a great day.